What's up, everybody? I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna.
And welcome to our review to Bleach, episode 128 to 137.
Come have fun with us and don't forget to subscribe.
Just a note, that wasn't rehearsed.
What was it?
The beginning.
Anna, usually we cover Bleach, one of the anime of the list, by doing reactions.
Yeah.
Except when it's a series of fillers,
Right.
like it is the case here. And those cases, we watch them by ourselves, come back to you guys with a review of our thoughts.
Of these fillers.
Yes. And most of the time, it's really more your thoughts with me chiming in.
Right.
Because I've seen Bleach before, so I try to restrain some of my ideas as to not
Influence me.
influence or
Thank
spoil you by
I
mistake.
appreciate it.
Fillers, Anna.
Fillers.
Uh,
They are there to fill in
Yes.
the gaps.
Indeed, that's what they're there for. I know there's a lot of people who are not really into fillers. What are your thoughts on fillers? We've
I
seen a
don't
lot.
mind fillers in general. I don't mind them on principle. I don't mind like extra stories or side stories or whatever, you know. I do feel like a lot of the times fillers don't respect the established patterns or hierarchy of power or stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I have to think about it too much, then it kind of takes me out of it.
When a filler starts feeling like it's contradicting any of the main
Yeah.
story stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
it's when it gets iffy. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But other than that, like, I mean, to me, it's just like little stories, you know, like there's the main story arc, and I'm imagining fillers as being something smaller that happens that wasn't really worth putting in the main story arc.
Behind
but
the
it could.
scene.
Yeah, exactly. Like it could happen. Here's just like, you know,
Yeah.
a day, another day, you know. It feels like it could happen, and so I'm just taking it as such.
Okay, well, here we have several days.
Yeah.
It's not really a filler arc that's just one story. It's a few different stories. We're going to go through them individually so that, you know, we can say what we think of each of
Yeah.
them. So the first one is the longest one. It's from episode 128 to 131. That's the one with the kid who's dead, died in a car
Yeah.
accident. His sister also died in the car accident. There's this hollow, this Arrancar who multiplies.
Yeah.
And, you know, Matsumoto heavily involved, Hitsugaya.
Yeah.
Actually.
I like that one. I really did, because I feel like the transition is quite seamless. And I've noticed that with the Bleach fillers so far, the previous like long filler arc that we've watched.
The Bound.
Yes, that the transition is really good. Like it makes sense, you know. It doesn't feel like it's broken from the main storyline that
Too
had
much,
happened.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like when these fillers start, you actually feel like, yeah, that could happen, you know. They think that it's connected to what was happening before, but then it turns out it's not. But again, it makes sense. It could happen, right? Like other Hollows still exist out there. It's not all about Aizen and his puppets. Right?
One thing though, and we're gonna come back to that as we go further into the other fillers, you know, like, oh, it's an Arrancar, and then later on, like, here's a Menos, like,
Yeah,
the threats are now always
like at the same level.
At the same
and
level.
that's one thing that I don't appreciate so much about this whole filler arc. I feel like they overuse those like high level threats, like you said, you know. I would have liked for it to be toned down.
Yeah, just where are the regular hollows, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And just like tell the story, you know? Like regular hollows still exist and they need to be taken out.
They matter.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the transition was good. The story was good. I like the story with the siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was sad, right? To realize eventually
Yeah.
that, like, oh, no, little girl, they were already dead, but she's been eaten, you know?
Right. Yeah, like it's too late for her.
Yeah. But yeah, this I will agree with you. It wasn't so bad, and it didn't feel that long.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I remember when we were talking about the Bound arc, how it felt like,
Yeah.
you know, even though it's interesting, but it's
repetitive.
not ending. You know, it's
And it gets repetitive, and this one didn't feel like that at all.
didn't
You know?
overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
Because as soon as it's over, we're moving on to new things, and that I'm curious to hear your thought about.
I know why.
A series of different episodes, which are all kind of self-contained about, you know, one of the Shinigamis, Orkon, doing regular things in the regular world, which is something you wanted to see.
I love those. Yeah, I did. I really like those, you know, when Hitsugaya has
So
to
the
help
first
them
one,
with the...
Tsugaya has to play football
Yeah.
with Ichigo's sister.
Yeah. I like those so much, you know. I like this, like, when it gets all mixed up, you know, between whatever is like the supernatural beings and the regular everyday people with their regular everyday problems.
Yeah, it's just them playing a game against, you know, middle schoolers who look like they would be 36.
Right. I like it, and I like it because it feels like it's also something, it's recurrent, like you see this a lot, but I still like it as a trope where they make a connection, you know. Sure, these are just, you know, elementary school or middle school kids with their middle school problems, but there's a message there, you know. In a way, it's not that different from the issues that
Hitsugaya is going through.
that they're facing. It's just obviously at a different scale, you know. It's interesting to see it that way.
That was a fun one, but the one I really liked was the following one, which centered around Ikaku teaching a group of Kendo students,
right?
And then participating in another amicable match against high schoolers who are 46.
I like this one particularly because it used information that we had about the character, but, like, you know, in a smart way, which is that he was a trainer, right? He trained other...
He trained Renji.
He trained Renji. I'm guessing maybe other Shinigami too. So they used that and then put it here. And also, like I said, you know, made it feel believable, you know.
Yeah. And made it funny, right? Both this one and the previous one, but this one especially was really funny. The different gags, especially with the sister. So yeah, I liked it a bit more than the next one. The next one is a bit more kind of a downer. It's this guy who died, who wanted to bake a cake for his mom. And while I appreciated the more like sentimental storyline, the cake thing just, in this case, went on too long.
Yeah,
you know, they kept making the cake.
It was all about making that cake.
And then they made that cake for like half the episode.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the message was kind of lost in the baking.
And the recipe.
It was just one episode.
Yeah, of course. So we didn't lose much here. The next one, though, it's mainly about Kon hanging out with this little girl.
I like that story, though.
Yeah, it's a nice story.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
It's well made. It hits the right notes of sentimentalism, I guess.
And also, it's pulling at your heartstring with the dog at the end who saves her, but you realize the dog had become a hollow.
Right.
Which is something that wasn't explored before, right? Do
animals become hollows? Yeah, it's the first time we see something like that, right?
But the mom, you know, just leaving that little girl from morning until she said mom's come back at like 11 p.m. or something at night.
Yeah.
So like basically you're alone.
That 6-year-old has to cook for herself.
And then she drowns and then gets attacked by a hollow the same day. The police is involved both time.
Right.
And the last two, episode 136 and 137, also touch on something that you were curious about, which is a group of Arrancar like, Aizen, we don't like him.
Yeah, but like I feel weird for it to be introduced, like for the idea even to be introduced in a filler. Because here's my thought. Did they put it here because they know it's not gonna happen actually? Because that was a theory that I had, that it might happen, that some of the Arrancars will not like being led by a Shinigami.
Yeah.
So if they put it here, is it that it doesn't actually happen? I mean, that could be like, maybe it was just my idea. And if it does happen, doesn't it take away from it now that we've seen it in a filler? Because I feel like it should be like there was no indication of something like that before, right, in the main story. So the idea was really introduced for the first time now in the fillers. So if it does happen later on, I feel like it takes away from the impact of it. Yeah.
Might be, might not be. Who knows?
Also, I wasn't a fan of the story as a whole.
Yeah, of these trees stealing the.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like it was the way it ended. I feel like they also overused how, Aizen is actually like a master manipulator, and he was like, yes, that's how it would have been normally, but they kind of like simplified it too much.
Yeah.
It
was an easy plan. Like, did you
was
really
so
think you
easy.
killed the
Yeah.
Ukura?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Not the best episodes.
not
this
the
was.
winners.
Yeah.
Speaking of winners, which one's the winner for you in all of these?
If I had to pick, I would probably pick the ones with the sports.
So, both? Like the
Yeah.
football and the kendo?
Kendo, was it? Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the kendo one's my favorite. It made me laugh.
I like both of them for the same reason, that it's really more connected to the real world, to the the human world. I mean,
Yeah.
so I like that.
The cake one's my least favorite.
Yeah, it wasn't as captivating, I guess.
But all in all, what would you say about these fillers? Enjoyed them?
I did enjoy them. Yeah.
Would you say to someone who's watching right now, to whom we've spoiled all these fillers, but who haven't seen them, like, should they watch it?
Yeah.
Should-
Yeah, I think people should watch these. They're not too long. It feels like it's a nice break from, what's happening.
Everybody's training, so let's just go
Yeah, exactly.
look at something else.
I like, and we didn't mention that, I like the way they removed Ichigo
She was
from
not there, yeah.
the fillers, right? Because, I mean, if you remember the Naruto fillers,
They would always find a way to...
Naruto is always there,
Put Naruto
even
in
when
there, yeah.
he shouldn't be. Like, I would have liked for some of those fillers to be someone else's stories, and I like that they do this with these fillers. It's always someone else's story,
Yeah.
and it's not even just it's someone else, and it's the other characters also don't always jump in. Like, you have a couple of characters at a time, but you never have all of them.
Yeah, and the Yumichika episode, Ikaku's not there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the Itsugai episode, it's mainly him.
Yeah.
Even though we see a bit of the others, but it's mainly
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I do. Yeah.
But as they do these fillers, they tend to circle back to where we were before
Yeah.
we left off. We left off with Aizen being interested in Orihime.
Yeah.
We leave once again
Yeah.
with Aizen being interested in Orihime.
I'm really curious to see where that's going, so I can't wait to get back into the...
And so, yeah, that's
the
what I was
episodes.
about to ask you as we leave these fillers behind us and are about to go back to the canon story. Where do you think we're going?
Oh my god, I don't know. Like, I feel like we left where we left before the fillers. I only had so many questions. Like, so many questions about the origin of the power of Orihime and Chad. And then everybody's training. Like, I'm curious to see what that is going to lead to. And then, we have on Aizen's side, Aizen and his puppets. What are they, like, I don't know what they're really trying to do. Because, like, there's the key, this new element has been introduced, but I feel like it's
With the Soul
still
King and
not
everything.
the full story. Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like there's a lot of elements missing that I don't get the full picture, so I'm curious to see. And
of
why is
course-
Orihime important? I love that.
Of course, you want to see your favorite Ichigo's
Yes,
dad.
Ichigo's dad.
Ishin Kurosaki.
Oh, yes, Ichigo's dad. Like, oh my god, I can't wait to see him jump into fight. I am waiting for the father and son to be reunited on the battlefield or something. Like, I feel like this, I don't know when it's gonna happen or how they're gonna do it. Obviously, it's gonna happen at some point. Ichigo is gonna find out, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a great moment.
Oh,
I know
okay.
it.
Oh.
I know it. I just know it.
If the moment does come, as she says she knows it, we will be capturing a reaction to it right here on this channel. And if you want to see that, we invite you to.
Subscribe to this channel. The button is down below.
Thank you for watching this video with us. Thank you for liking it if you did. And let us know what you thought of these fillers in the comment section below. Were they good? Were they bad? Would you consider...
Were they amazing?
Would you tell someone to watch them? And yeah,
Have a nice day.